J. Spencer, S-P-E-N-S-E-R. It's an interesting book. It shows you how an airplane got up. I mean, there's a sort of like a pass-fail situation when you go up in the air. You know, you either got it right or you got it wrong. And it's how they solve how the fuselage and everything else. So it's kind of interesting. This is where our nightmare started. It was under a case called the Zoning of America. And I heard they were talking about cluster zoning in Bloomfield. We're going to have cluster zoning. That was precisely in Euclid versus Ambler what they were arguing against. They didn't want the factory right here, or the butcher shop or whatever right here, while my kids are sleeping, et cetera, they don't want the notches. They didn't want that, so they came up with a concept called zoning. William Howard Taft was the Chief Justice on the board. It came out of Ohio, of all places. So Euclid versus Ambler is put out by, I think it's Kansas City.
Maybe Euclid.
Right.
Euclid versus Ambler.
Zoning of America. It's a great book on how they just come full circle. In other words, they started out, you can't have cluster zoning. Or you can't, you can't have that. We're going to use that for a specific reason, for getting to tell you future interest rates, what we're going to let you do with your property in the future. That's really how they control everything. What you do tomorrow, not what you're doing today. So they did that, and now they're going full cycle, and now they want to do cluster zoning. It came out of California. Here's a set of books. This is called, it's by Braudel, B-R-A-U-D-E-L. It's called Wheels of Commerce. And it will, when you finish reading this, you'll walk through a town and you'll say, well, that was their first, this was their second, that was their third. Because the structure all came together. And you'll also see how the economy works in banks, etc. Where the letters are correct. Why is Bordeaux there, and why do they have fine wines? And where did the Portuguese bring in their silver, etc. Now, get down to it. If you're interested in being an entrepreneur, you want to make money like Zuckerberg, Eduardo, etc. When they did Facebook. Take the technology that's proven in one field and apply it to another field. In other words, Scott's, there was a guy sitting down in Cornwall and he's watching a steam engine pump water out of a well, out of a coal mine, so that they could get the coal out, even though it was water was coming in at a quick rate. He looks at it for about 45 minutes and he memorizes it. He goes home to Scotland and he builds a locomotive. Totally different purpose. Well, what's that got to do with New Jersey? Answer. I'm looking at dredge material. I own 63 acres of dredge depot. In other words, I'm the only depot on the New Jersey side with rail. And I see all this muck out there, this dredge material. And everybody, the Corps of Engineers, is just blowing it into property. It sits there for 20, 30, 40 years and gets reconstituted, it's docile. But you gotta wait 20, 30, 40 years. And what happens is they say, well, that's not quick enough, so I give an engineer $10,000 and say, solve the problem. He took the technology out of Colorado, where they had the same problem. Colorado DEP said, you're not gonna have all this muck from this hydraulic mining. You gotta clean it up. So they said, we'll take one stream of waste, called bottles, we'll crush it. And when you crush bottles down to 200 grit, it operates like sand. You put it in a pug mill with the muck, it dewaters. You put a can underneath, dump it into a bigger can, pump it, get rid of the water legally. You have construction grade fill material now, and you can reclaim your surface mines. That was the problem that was solved. I took that information and applied it in New Jersey for the dredge material to reconstitute Brown's fields, where we could dig up the dirt that was toxic, run it up to 2,400 degrees, cook it, if you will. It becomes non-leachable material, no pollution went in the air, etc. We use it as road base for NJDOT, so they know exactly where it is. It's controllable. Then you fill stuff in. All the time you have these revenue streams, and you're making this money. So every year there's 550,000 cubic yards of dredge material in the channel of the Delaware River. times $20. It's $10 million. That's a couple jobs. You take the bottles, it's another $10 million. You're getting after, you're getting paid $20 to take it. You're crushing it. You're getting it out of Philadelphia. You're doing a 50-50 ratio. Now you're fill material. Right next door, they need 2 to 3 million cubic yards of fill material at BP. And we could have extracted, etc. I put in an offer to buy BP, and basically it was like 75 million. Well, you now have what's called redevelopment in South Jersey, where the taxpayers are paying $48 million to put in a dredge depot. Well, I have a dredge depot right next door. They need my property to dewater, get rid of the water, because they have brownfields, right? And they don't want to dig it up. Point being, you're funding it, you're funding it, you're funding it, and it's taken 10 times longer, and all the risk is on you. That is what you have in store for Bloomfield. That is the same thing as what I was talking about in Russia. They had to take all of these construction that Stalin did and figure out the right thing so that it was economical to use, so that it was financial. So what I had done was, through the private market, sitting down with my dad saying, how does it operate? I want to do this better, blah, 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 blah. We figured it all out, set up the system. Then when the state of New Jersey said, well, we're not going to let you control, remember? Future interests, we're not going to permit you. I go, what do I care if you permit me or not? I'm going to dewater it, and it's going to go into a barge. I'm taking the barge back where we extracted the dredge material and put the water back where it was. So there's no problem there. It's a benign material. It's not, your extraction permits are clean. Now, I'm going to take the other material, since you won't let me place it anywhere. I'm going to load it up on my rail cars, and I'm taking it up to 25,000 acres I located in the Poconos, and I'm going to reclaim some mines. And I'm going to get the property for back taxes. As we were 4 or 5, maybe $10,000 an acre when I'm done. And if I want to film it, on topsoil, then I'll take some trees from Bargeman, from let's say Wilmington, Delaware, grind them up, fill that in with that rest stuff's dewatered, and then bring the ratio from 50-50 down to 20 with the rest of the organic material on that topsoil. And I'll haul that north. And I'll pay for everything. And I'll have this big train that says Gallanthin on the side. So I'll drive through your town. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun to it. They go crazy. The state of New Jersey and our dear freeholder director and our dear mayor, you can't do that. I said, you only control, government can only get involved in public health, safety, and welfare. If the public health, safety, and welfare are not impacted, you have no jurisdiction.
Right.
Get it in your mind, Obama. It's limited government. And that's what makes us really work. Because I'm not the only ones to figure these things out. We lost General Motors. Basically, we lost the auto industry. Sure, Mitsubishi and Chrysler and Toyota and General Motors, the capital went to China or to Japan. And they ascended. However, we lost the industry back here and the jobs back here. But we replaced it. We get $990 billion a year with the internet. Didn't exist 20 years ago. So we're reinventing ourselves. So if you want Bloomfield to go forward, find something that is innovative. All right, I want to go through these real quick.
One quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Couldn't the municipal government or the county government come back at you and threaten you with taking your land by eminent domain? And
They did.
just shutting you down?
They did.
Shutting you down.
They did. And I beat them 7-0. Just like the Secretary of the Navy. We did what? That ain't gonna happen. You wouldn't want infantry company. I didn't want to play this game. I won 7-0 in front of the New Jersey Supreme Court. The case is 191 NJ 344.
2007.
2007. And I better say, my wife and I won. Anyway, Yes, they can say that your property is blighted, and they will contrive legal things of, oh, that's right, you've got 100 turkey on your property. You've got 7 doe and 7 buck or 2 bucks, You got turtle, all kinds of stuff. And it's green while our property is blighted over here. No, I don't have property that's blighted. But it did cost me $1 million. And they did have a lot of fun. And now they're paying for it. And they will continue to pay for it. Because like I said, you research anybody that you feel is wrong. You just don't like the way they are. Because you feel that person's a crook. Well then get on the internet and find out everything about it. Like one mayor has a real estate development company in a town, and he's put 56% of the town into redevelopment. And the city administrator is signed on the mortgage, and is also in the real estate development company. Make it public. It's kind of like Wayne Ryan. That's what Wayne Ryan did, more or less. That's why Wayne Ryan is facing 120 years, as is his bond counsel. Different fact pattern, but nevertheless the same problem. The bond counsel is Eric B. Whistler. Who the hell is Eric B. Whistler? Well, if you walked in under McGreevy's administration, you see McGreevy's name here. You look over here, you see Michael R. DeCoitis of counsel, state of New Jersey, the senior lawyer in the state in the executive branch. Who is Michael R. DeCoitis? You can find out. Pull out your phone, watch in. You'll find out that he's part of a law firm called DeCoitis, Fitzpatrick, and Whistler. Who is Whistler? Well, you do some research over at the Department of State, and you find out that there is a company called Pensacola and Cherokee. And you go, that's a foreign corporation. That just means it's from another state. What state is it from? Delaware. I know Delaware. It's a great trip. We'll go down there. So we go down there. Walk right into Bureau of Corporations. Sure enough, it's an LLC. Doesn't tell you who the shareholders are. They're so bright, aren't they? But who would have thought that the transmittal letter filing the report would also be copied by the clerk? And that transmittal letter says, Whistler. So let me see if I got this right. $7 billion is being set up by the Governor McGreevy in redevelopment. $6 billion. DeCoitis is throwing the money. And on the receiving end is his law partner. Nobody went to jail on that one, did they? No, they just got him for handing money back and forth. He's in the process of that. And I wish the man well. He's supposed to be dying of cancer, etc. But not in government. Not with your money, not with your money, not with your money. Not with your future interest rates, not in the balloon field. It doesn't work. We weren't super smart when we beat the Russians. Our system works. And our system was developed. Here's a book, Property and Freedom. It's by Richard Pipes, P-I-P-E-S. Who's Richard Pipes? Professor at Harvard, written 33 books, immigrant from Poland, worked his way up, and he was the security advisor for Soviet relations to the National Command Authority during the Cold War. He's got some kind of credentials, right? So, read his book. He explains how it developed in the United States property and how it created freedom. And I saw personally that they didn't have it in Afghanistan, they didn't have it institutionally in Iraq, they didn't have it in the Sudan, because they didn't go through the same lucky experience we did. That New Jersey is trying to disassemble the future interest rates. You know your property better than anybody. I don't even know their address, but you know probably its future uses as well as the markets around you. So you know whether to put A, business, B, business, C, business, or X business. You already know that. Government doesn't know that. They'll do the same thing the Soviets did. They'll build a canal coming out of Murmansk or wherever the hell it was, and it won't be deep enough or wide enough, and the ships can't get through it, or the barges can't get through it. That's an actual. So they got to come back and redo it. You know, it's a mess. And you have these people with GEDs, high school diplomas, no experience in real estate development. They have no risk, but their buddies are going to make money. You give me the campaign contribution, believe me, you'll get it back.
Would you just clarify Sweeney's educational background, please? Does he have anything beyond the GED?
He's an
He has
honorary-
honorary degrees only.
Honorary?
Right.
Correct.
Or dishonorary.
I am going to slander anybody. Okay?
No,
At all.
that's kind of.
Now, my wife went to school with him. And a guy named Norcross.
No.
Right. In Pensacola. Now, here's 2 more books written by the same guy. Hernando de Soto. Not Hernando de Soto 1, it's Hernando de Soto 2. He's in Peru, and he's a CPA. He was invited by the State Department to go to Iraq. He was invited to go to Afghanistan to lecture and to help in institutionalizing what's called legally alive property, as opposed to legally dead property. And this will go through legally dead property quite clearly. There were 85,000 Shining Path AK-47 carrying men who wanted a better life for their families. Their system didn't work. And they were going to, destroy capitalism and institute communism because they said it had to work. And believe me, New Jersey has remarkable similarities to very dysfunctional systems, and they don't know what they're doing. So what's fueling it? You're going to make money. You can get campaign contributions. I'm going to be, who knows? I'll be, mayor in charge of the parking lots, whatever I want to be. But I'll ruin your life just to get there. So this guy taught the shining path that they weren't fighting capitalism, and they didn't want to institutionalize communism. What they were fighting was mercantilism. And mercantilism is where the government says you can make playing cards, but you can't be an orthodontist. You can be an optician, but you can't be a general practitioner or a lawyer. In other words, I'm going to tell you, the government is going to tell you what you're going to do in life through structuring your property. In other words, you can't, like EPA or U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we control all the water, we're going to make this a duck farm, we're going to make this a turkey farm, a pheasant farm, etc. Well, they explained what legally dead capital was, and this is a good book. 85,000 men took their AK-47s home and put them in their closets. And now it's prosperity. Now, they did try to kill Hernando a couple times. Those guys that really wanted it their way. However, he now teaches continuing legal education off and on in Washington, and it's a great book. It's called The Mystery of Capital. It intertwines with the other one. This one is it's called The Ascent of Money. Now this guy, his name is Niall, N-I-A-L-L, Ferguson. He is at Stanford, he's at Harvard, he's at Oxford, and he's at another. If I said Yale, probably right. All at the same time. And what he talks about is the ascent of money. What are we experiencing right now? We're experiencing a problem. There's a guy named Zax, Z-A-X. He's going to be a professor at Harvard next year. He's doing the Patterson redevelopment. Senator Rice, Ronald Rice. We have a problem in New Jersey. We have blighted communities, and we need to get it straight. We need to clean it up. We need to get our legally dead capital alive again. We need some type of vehicle to get this. But when government runs amok, when local people win elections, and they simply say, we want to make money, I'm gonna call that property blighted and take it from them. Now, there's two men that are dead. There's a bar owner in Haddon Heights dropped dead from going through an eminent domain action.
Fritchie.
What's his name?
Fritchie.
Pritchett. Then there's another one called DeRose. Remember the tunnel that was gonna go in and cross over the Hudson River?
That's right.
All right?
Trans-Ocean Express or access to the Regent's Court, that tunnel?
Yeah. He died also, I think that's a heart attack. The stress, and I'm going through my second case, and it's really getting to be funny, because the dynamics of it are this. Your lawyer gets a third of your equity, so why does he want to sell before he gets to court? The other side makes legal fees. Why do they want to sell? It's not their money, it's your money, it's your money, it's your money. It's the taxpayers' money. The whole system is only set up in eminent domain to take for public use. When they start taking for private use, they don't care. They're going to continue it just like if it was a justifiable public use. Another thing is why can't they settle these cases? I don't know if everybody saw the one, Greetings from Asbury Park, that movie. But if you look at it, they want to put in $400,000 condos. And this woman has a home she's lived in since 55 or 51, whatever it was. And they don't want to give her $160,000. Well, let me see if I get this right. You've got a piece of ground. It's going to go up 100, 200 feet. Where you're going to put all these condos stacked on top. You won't give her one. You only give her half. That's the problem with the compensation system. Is the problem in eminent domain for economic gain. But the 10th Amendment, if you look at that 10th Amendment, it says, all those powers not expressed or implied in the Constitution of the United States are reserved for the states, unless reserved by the people. We are the shareholders, we are the stockholders, we are the ones that tell the mayor and the police department what to do. Don't get confused, Chief of Police. I'm telling you, we tell you what to do. Now, I mean that in a balanced way. I do have a TS clearance, and I'm not preaching, dictatorial from the proletariat. What I'm saying is that you're their boss, and when they decide to come in, now you said about taking to court or they'll take you to court. I've been shot at. I've been run off the road with my wife and 6-month-old baby. I've had my tractors burned. Tractors, yes. I've been to court, I told you how much I spent, et cetera, et cetera. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to jail, and it's not going to be me. I was on 93 judges' list for criminal defense work. I know how you put my clients in jail. I can find out who you are, and I will definitely publish the information after I get the deeds that you own, the corporations that you run, how it all, after my wire diagram is worked out. I will publish it. I will publish it to every FBI agent, director, in every region in this country. So go ahead and try to make it up the scale. Mr. Agent, you won't. I'll send it to every U.S. attorney in every state in the country. That's what you guys need to do. I'm not beating on my chest here. You need to get to that quiet level of intensity and knowledge in your own community so that your government operates honestly. That's all you want. That's why you're their boss. If somebody beat up somebody, they got to go to jail. Then they got to get tried, go through the legal process. But if somebody didn't do anything and you're going to throw them in jail, now you got a problem with everybody in the town. Chief, it's just the way it is. And we're at a point where I heard somebody say this should have happened 40 years ago. Thank God it happened now. Because we're the brain. Now there was a lieutenant colonel who was in charge of security. And she's in charge of security for the transition team, the President of the United States. And what was relayed to me is what was